Hi, I'm Lisa Bagshaw, and welcome to Bold Leaps, the show that interviews creative, inspiring, successful people about the risks they've taken to pursue their dreams. And today's guest is one of the most celebrated artists in Canada, master carver Xwalacktun. Recognizing an early talent, Xwalacktun's mother signed him up for art class when he was 12 years old and urged him to go to art school when he was older. He didn't have the money to go, but thankfully the nation stepped in and helped him pay. He was already selling his work by the time he was 18. Inspired by the environment and his ancestors, Xwalacktun's art is expressed through multi-mediums and lives in over 100 schools, corporations, galleries, museums, and public spaces in BC and around the world. But the road to this point of his success, notoriety, and celebration was not without roadblocks and adversity. Despite the challenges he faced, in 1990, Xwalacktun made a major leap to apply for a loan from the bank that would allow him to commit to his art full-time, a leap that changed the trajectory of his life forever. What I wanted to know was, what do you draw upon to not only take this leap of faith, but sustain it? Welcome to Bold Leaps, Xwalacktun.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
Actually, I should say thank you very much for having us into your magical workspace. This is unbelievable. I'm so happy that we can be here and be surrounded by your work. It's very calming.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'd like to start with just looking at this major leap of applying for a loan for your art, which is a major leap in and of itself. I mean, who applies for a loan for their art? It's so high risky. But tell us some of the events that were leading up to this decision.
Well, I went to art school. I graduated in 1982. And at the beginning, I didn't know what I was going to be doing with my life. Actually, after I graduated from high school, I tried to get a job. And then I hitchhiked everywhere for 7 months trying to get a job to make some money, earn a living, but I didn't get a job. So anyways, I just kept moving around, and the last place I went to go check out is my father's place where he was working. I went down to where he was working at the booming ground, and he saw me come down and walk into the office there, and he came over on the boat and he says, "Son, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I'm going to apply for a job." He says, "No, son, I don't want you here." He says, "Go back to school." And then my mother also said that. And then our homeschool coordinator, May Harris, helped out. "Go back to school." And I said, "Oh, but there's no work in it. How am I? I'll be a starving artist."
Go back to school to Emily Carr? Or?
Yeah, it started off as Vancouver School of Art. Then 1980 became Emily Carr College of Art.
Right. So they were encouraging you to go back.
Yes.
Right.
So I eventually went in and I got accepted in, and I just loved it. So 4 years went by fast. And then after that, I was invited to a conference after I graduated that summer, and I was walking down, it was up Paradise Valley past Squamish, and they told me, "Come as you are," and I did. I was wearing Adidas shorts and carrying a white shirt, just a young guy walking down this dirt road towards this place where they're having the conference. And I saw a bunch of people sitting outside in the crowd, and they were all dressed up really nice. I said, "Oh my God." So I threw on a t-shirt, and one of the ladies I sat beside, she says, "Rick," because I was named Rick at the time.
Right.
"Rick, you're not wearing anything." And one of my elders laughed, and he says, "Well, he gave me the name Letwin, and Letwin means in our Squamish language, naked one." So it stuck with my name for a lot of years until I received my real name, Xwalacktun. When it leaded up to after 1985, I sobered up, and my artwork changed because, I came out of that rough age, that rough, wild side of my life.
Wow.
And I sobered up, and I went on some journeys, and it helped change my life. And the journey was like riding a bike from Haida Gwaii back to here, to Vancouver. I learned a lot about myself, about moving forward, not just focusing way too far ahead, but focusing underneath me as the land moves as you're cycling. And it was like a three-week journey. So I did a lot of thinking, a lot of struggles, because, you know, I was probably out of shape. I was strong, but out of shape for, you know, physical, you know, long journeys. So by the time I arrived back home, I lost 30 pounds and I felt lighter, you know, spiritually, because I learned a lot on that journey. Then it helped me focus, where am I going to go in my life? Then I ended up working in a rediscovery program in Haida Gwaii, which is on the west coast of LEAPS Bay, and it was a youth camp. Then some person came over and saw me, what kind of work I was doing. They asked me if I would work in a healing center. I said, yeah, that sounds good. That was up in Kitwinga. Kitwinga is another journey I went on, so it helped change my life. And when I came back down, I wanted to start my own business. And I fiddled around, what can I do? Well, start up a studio gallery. Then I wanted to get a bank loan. How to do that? I didn't know how to do that. And it was a struggle because, you know, banks wouldn't loan money at that time if you're living on a reserve. It took me a year and a half to borrow money. So I had to go through this process. It was called Sea to Sky Enterprises. Beautiful people there helped me out. And after a year and a half, I started my business, had a grand opening, had a gallery, had a studio. And my loan, you know, I had a 5-year term to pay it off. And I was doing well already. So I said, is there a penalty if I pay my loan off too soon? Like, they said no. So I paid it off in 2 years. It wasn't a very big loan, but for me as a young person, that was a lot of money.
It's absolutely incredible that you actually sat down and applied for the loan. How did you feel when you were actually applying for the loan? Were you excited?
Well, there was
fearful?
There was fear, because after I get a bank, you know, borrowed the money, then it's all new to me, right? So, you know, I didn't even know what they were talking about. Well, we need a list of all your assets, right? Okay, assets. What's all my assets? So I started writing things down. You know, I had a beat up truck. Is that part of an asset? Well, okay, yeah, we could. But, you know, eventually I learned more about how to borrow the money. He had to get a BCR. It's called Band Council Resolution. So I had to go to the Squamish Nation. And then the bank needed the letter from the nation so that if I weren't making the payments, the bank has the right to go in there and take all those assets.
Wow.
So those were my fears, and I just worked my butt off, and I had it paid off in no time. So I realized if I can do this, I can do anything.
That is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about what happened after that, but we have to take a break first. But when we come back, I am going to find out what happened once Xwalacktun made this massive commitment to his craft. Welcome back. So here we are. I want to get back to the story. Here we are, and you've got the loan.
Yes.
How did you feel the next day when you woke up and you realized you were fully committed to pursuing your craft?
Well, you know, I already had a whole plan laid out, because I couldn't get the loan unless I had the whole plan laid out. And the exciting part was just going to those places and making up invitations, making up business cards, and buying these tools I needed to carry on this creative journey studio gallery, which I called it at the beginning. So I was just, wow, yeah, I'm so excited. And then as I was building another little shop outside, then Katimavik, they came and helped. They said, well, we got some people that want to help out. What can we do? I said, well, I got to build a trench from the main house to this little studio that I built to get power there. So they were there digging away, and I just saw this, wow, this help is coming along from nowhere. And I was so excited.
Did you find that help did come your way a lot?
Yes, even like local communities where I got my business cards made, they helped out. gave me a nice a low budget, but it was high end for my business cards, my invitations and stuff. So they helped out because, in Squamish, small community then, right? We all knew one another. We knew our merchants and they knew us, and we always talk and ask about family. So,
because I have heard you say that community has really helped you a lot in your success.
yes, when you have community, they're the ones supporting you at the beginning because they're purchasing your work, they're talking about your work, and they commission me to do something. It just helped out.
And did you believe in yourself at that point?
I did because, for me, I felt like I'm always a hard worker. I want to get the job done. As I was growing up, my father would say either get the job done on time or early, but never late. He says, if you're always early or on time, it'll pay off in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what else did you draw upon at that time to keep, because you had a business plan, and so you had a bunch of tasks to execute. What else did you draw upon sort of internally to keep you going and sustain that productivity?
Well, part of the contract too, to borrow the money from Sea to Sky Enterprises and the Royal Bank, was that I had to hire one person. So Canada Manpower at the time would pay 50% of his wage, and I would pay the other 50% of his wage for 1 year. So I actually had a helping hand through that process.
Well, that must have made a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you have, I know you had the strategy and everything, did you have a vision or a goal for yourself?
I always just strive to do better. So do the job right now, but do better the next day. And always just fully focus on what can I do to do better? What can I do to help myself get exposed out in this world with the arts?
And what did you find? How did you?
I just got out there and talked to people, donated artwork so that, when I donate work, it helps another cause, but it also helps me because it helps me to meet new people.
So
where I can hand out business cards.
Right. Smart. So
Yeah.
you would donate a piece of your work and to an event, and then
Yes.
you would go and you would schmooze.
Schmooze, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an excellent strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that sort of in about 2001, things started to really take off for you. What about prior to that? Was it starting to really gain momentum, the interest in your work?
I was actually working in the schools doing directive drawing, storytelling, drumming, singing, dancing. So this helped me out too, because those young people actually became adults and they know who I am, right? And they actually seek me out later, right? And they say, oh, I remember you. They may cross paths with me, but you see a big boy with mustache and a beard, looking at me. I remember you when I was in grade 3. Really? Wow. Things like that start coming back to you, and they're really interested in your work. And they're like my PR people.
Well, you must have inspired a lot of people through your teaching.
Yes, I have, and I mentored many people too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also talk about how art has been very healing for you and for others. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, a lot of the work, because I was sharing at one point that art, we didn't have a word for art, but art is a way of life for us because it was our written language. So anything that was made would help us move forward, or was there for the ones that aren't here yet, or the ones that are past. So we kind of bring all these together to form who we are today as a human being. We call stomach. I'm a human being. And what can I do to help others? Because I've been helped out myself. Because whatever we gain something, we got to share something.
So that's a big part of your how you sort of think about things going forward with your work. In terms of the purpose. Yeah,
there's a purpose. It gives what we call the art life, gives it life. Because when somebody picks this piece up, someone asks you, what is this all about? Where did you get this? And that person is going to tell a story of how this all came about.
So, and the story part is a big part of your work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Each piece of work tells.
Whether it's for the community, for the environment, for human unity, for spirituality, all of those kind of tie in together as one.
And you're able to draw upon all these things that have happened to you in your life.
Yes.
And put them into your work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been through it and I know how to talk it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so through all these years, sort of leading up to 2001, when things really started to kind of take off, when did you know that you would be okay?
I never really paid much attention to that. I just knew I wanted to do this, and I just continued to do the work and reaching out to people, making connections, showing that we're all stomach, we're all human beings. What can we do together as one to make changes happen? You know, there are very subtle things I've did which will help change things. You know, whether if we're thinking about the earth, of community, of family, of friends, you know, it's just what can we do to help out by just moving together as one.
You've actually, yeah, your work has a lot of educational value for so many people. Is that something that you think about when you're doing your work, or?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, with, if we think of today's society, you know, like what can we do to make changes? And it all starts with us, right? So that's always in my mind too, right? Just what can I do to help make those changes?
What's a really important change?
Human unity. Human unity for the environment. We know what's going on with the environment. You know, we hear it on news all the time now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk more about this, and I want to talk more about the impact that art has had on your life. But right now we have to take another break, but do stay with us because we are going to talk about what Xwalacktun's life is like now and what advice he has for those of us who are too afraid to pursue our dreams when we come back. Welcome back. Well, you have had so much success in your life, and I know you're wearing the Order of BC, your Order of BC pin, and congratulations on that, and so much success, international success. What is something that you really accredit your success to?
I think it's family, friends, you know, like, you know, it's always been said, you know, to raise a child takes a whole community to raise that child. You know, a lot of people help build me up who I am today. So, you know, although I worked hard what I did, but there's always people behind you that help you out, you know. So, you know, I always raise my hands and thank people for that.
I think that's a really important part, the gratitude for everyone, because you don't do it alone, do you?
No, we don't. No. Yeah.
You don't
and
do
you just
any.
make friendship, make connections with people and leave something with them. They'll come back and we make connections again and things just grow that way. You know, we kind of help one another out. Yeah.
And how is your life now?
Super busy. So busy that sometimes one time I triple booked and I didn't know how I'm going to get out of this one. You know, how can I handle this? So I just problem solve. I just don't panic. I just make it happen and we make it work out.
How do you not panic?
Just take a couple breaths and, okay, this is what's going to happen, right? And just make some calls and just figure it out. Yeah.
I'm very glad you're so busy. What do you think your biggest lesson has been in your whole journey as an artist?
The struggle was the fear of how far can I get in this? You know, I was still a young person walking around, you know, going place to place, trying to sell artwork, you know, getting disappointed, you know, things would happen like that. But, you know, I just kept going, kept moving, just keep trying to do your best and keep moving forward. Don't dwell on something that's, you know, bugging you. Just let it go. If it's something you don't have to carry, let it go. You know, I did carry some stuff before and said, wow, why am I carrying this? I don't need to carry that. So I just let it slip off my back, like water off the back. Use that term, water off the back of a duck, right? Just let it go, right? And move forward.
How do you do that? Let it go.
Well, I just focus on where I'm going and just continue going in that direction. If something hurt me in the past, I won't dwell on that. I dealt with it at that moment and let it go.
I can see how that would be a big part of it. What advice would you have for people that are too afraid to pursue their dreams?
I think it's just taking that risk, that first step. It's just like I teach my little ones how to ride a bike. They have fear to ride a bike. I help them to a certain amount of time, and I know they're balanced on the bike. And they said, don't let go, Dad, don't let go. But I said, I already did. And they're balanced. They're having a great time after that, right? So it's just taking those risks and then enjoying and being in balance with yourself and keep moving forward.
And how do you stay in balance with yourself?
I use song, I use art, I listen to music, go visit friends, just chat,
And what about roadblocks? What if people, they take that risk, but then there's a roadblock?
I just hear them out. I hear them out and, I just walk away with it and say, well, that had nothing to do with me. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah, just keep moving forward. I love it.
I'm not there to argue, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you for honestly just making the planet a more beautiful place and for educating all of us in the very graceful and beautiful and gentle way that you do. The planet is better for having you in it. So thank you for being here.
It's better to have you in it too, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's it for another inspiring episode of Bold Leaps. I hope you feel inspired to pursue your dreams. Thank you for watching. Check us out on YouTube and other social media for episodes and updates. Tell us your bold leaps in the comments. Special thanks to our sponsors. And remember, every step you take is a step toward your dreams.